All right, so this is the review for quadratics. The first question says, what is the axis of symmetry? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this equation in our graph. So new document, don't save, add calculator page, and we have x squared plus 6x minus 7. We don't write y equals because that's the same thing as f of x. Push enter. There's our quadratic. To figure out our axis of symmetry, we do menu, analyze graph, 8 for conics, and go down to axis of symmetry. And then it doesn't show us anything, and we just need to scroll over, and there it is, x equals -3. Okay, so that was menu 6, 8, 4 for axis of symmetry. All right, next one, what is the vertex? So we need to actually look at this graph to figure out vertex. Vertex means the lowest or the highest point, so it's this point right here. So it's 1, -8 for our vertex, so right 1, down 8. Intercepts means where does it cross the x-axis? Okay, so this one has this point here at -1, 0, and this point here at 3, 0. Remember, it could say intercepts, it could say roots, it could say solutions, or zeros. Those all mean the same thing. Okay, where does it cross the x? Number 3, give the vertex. So here's our vertex at the top, 2, 1. Axis of symmetry is a line that cuts it in half. So x equals 2. All right, is the function quadratic? It explains. So anytime we're given a table, we need to go to list and spreadsheet. So new document, don't save. List and spreadsheets is number 4. You're going to list and spreadsheets. You need to type all this in. So x goes at the top, y, and you're going to type in the table. All your x's go in the x column, your y's go in the y column. Then you're going to add a new page by doing control doc. Add calculator page. This is 1, 2, 3. Add calculator page. Then you're going to go menu, 6, 1, and you're looking for quadratic regression, so 6. Then you put x in there and y in there, enter twice, and you're looking for r squared. It should equal 1, and in this case it does. R squared equals 1, so the answer is yes. R squared equals anything else other than 1, the answer is no. Number 5, find the vertex. Again, the highest point, identify if it's maximum or minimum. So this equation right here, I'm going to put in my calculator in the graph section. So new document, don't save, graph. I have -2x squared minus 8. Oh, and I can't see it. I'm just going to have to zoom out some. So menu 4, zoom out. There it is, down there. So to find our vertex, it's menu 6, 8, 2. So menu 6, 8, 2 for your vertex. And you just move your mouse to the bottom, and it gives us 0, -8. And that is a maximum because it's the highest point on the graph up there. All right, number 6, what is the axis of symmetry? That is the line that cuts it in half. It's always x equals, and it's right in between 1, so it's 1/2. Find the domain. All right, domain is always all real numbers. Range is y, and because it's going up, it's going to be greater than or equal to, and this is my y value, which is -5. Okay, here it gives me an equation. I still already know that range is all real numbers. excuse me, that domain is all real numbers. Range, I'm going to put this in my calculator so I can see the graph and figure out where does it start at. So I have x squared minus 8. Okay, so it starts down here at negative 8. I can find my vertex and use 6, 8, 2. So my vertex is 0, negative 8. So I know it's going to be y is greater than or equal to, and my y value there is negative 8. All right, quadratic parent function. That's really important. They use that a lot in the STAR test. It's y equals x squared. This is the linear parent function. This is standard form, and that's linear form. Okay, so it's C. All right, number 2. Which of the following does not describe the quadratic parent function? So the quadratic parent function is y equals x squared, and if I were to graph that, it would look something like this. So it has its vertex at the origin. So yep, that is true. The graph of the parabola opens up. That's true, it's going up. The graph has the x-axis, this axis, as a line of symmetry. Well, no, it's not going around this line, so I think it's that one. The graph have a minimum point at 0, 0. That one's right. So our only answer choice is C. Number 11, give the vertex and axis of symmetry for the quadratic function. So I could put this in my calculator and look for the vertex, but because this is in vertex form, I could also use these numbers, and it's the opposite of the inside, so a positive 4, comma, negative 5. And our axis of symmetry always comes from the x value of our vertex, so x equals 4. Number 12, describe the transformation compared to the parent function. So again, you can use your calculator and plug this in, or you can look at it and you know that the negative right here reflects. The 4 makes it narrow. This minus 4 makes it go right 4. And the minus 5 makes it go down 5. All right, number 13. Which of the following is the most narrow? Narrow means the most skinny. Which one is the skinniest graph? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in my graph. I'm going to put all of them in there and see which graph is the skinniest. So there's 1, negative 6x squared, negative 0.06 x squared, and 0.2x squared. So we're looking at all of these. The skinniest graph is this one right here, this orange one, which is negative 6x squared. There we go. All right. Write the equation of the quadratic parent, I think it's supposed to say parent function, and then graph it. So that's y equals x squared. And I'm just going to put that in my calculator and I'm going to graph it. I know what it looks like, but if you don't know what it looks like, put that equation in your calculator and go to your table and look for points and graph it in there. All right, the graph of the function y equals x squared is given below. How will the graph be affected if the coefficient, that means the number in front of x, is decreased to 1/4? So now we have y equals 1/4 x squared. So I'm going to look at my calculator. I'm going to graph it. So I have 1/4 x squared. Look, see what it does. It makes a wide graph. Okay, I could even put the original one, x squared, in there. I could see, look, it makes the blue one is wide. So A is correct, it makes it wider. All right, number 16. It says the graph of that is shown. What happens if it shifted up 5? So from this point, I need to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would put me right there. So I'm trying to figure out which one of these equations will match this graph. So I can just use my calculator and graph these equations to see which one will match. So x squared plus 5, that's all the way up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's at 2, so that doesn't work. Okay, let's try B. X plus 2. That one's at 1, 2. This one's at 2, so this one is our answer. This one's going to be at minus 2, and this one's going to be at minus 8, so neither one of those work. All right, find the axis of symmetry. So you just need to put this in your calculator, graph it. Negative x squared plus 2x minus 1. We're going to find our axis of symmetry is the one that cuts it in half. So right here, which is x equals 1. Our coordinate is at 1, 0. Parabola opens down. It is a max point. The domain is always all real numbers. Range is y, and because it's going down, is less than or equal to, and our y value is 0. All right, number 19. Again, we could graph this and look at it, but because this is in vertex form, I know my vertex is at -1, -4. Okay, opposite on the inside, same on the outside. So my axis of symmetry comes from this number, so -1. Because this is positive, I know it opens up. Because it opens up, I know this point is a minimum. The domain is always all real numbers. Range is y, because it opens up, it's going to be greater than or equal to, and I use our y number, so -4. All right, this one is in intercept form, so I can't really figure out what those are without my calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and type this in my calculator. So 2x plus 4, x minus 2. To do axis of symmetry, menu 6, 8, 4. And it tells me x equals -1. To find my vertex, menu 6, 8, 2. And it tells me my vertex is -1, -18. My zeros means where does it cross the x, and you can see it crosses at 2 and -4. So 2, 0, -4, 0. This one opens up. That means it has a minimum. Domain is always all real numbers. Range is y, and because it's going up, it's greater than or equal to. And I use this y value, so -18. All right, number 21. So he kicks a ball, and this is his height and his time. So it says the ball reaches a max height, so here's my max height of something. So this is about 28 or so. After how long? Well, this is 1.5 minutes, or 1.5 seconds, excuse me. Reasonable domain and range. So normally my domain is all real numbers, but because it says reasonable, it can't really be all real numbers. So we start at the left, 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to, and we go to our right, which is 3. Range, we start at the bottom, which is 0, and we go to the top, which is 28. Okay. Number 22, again, reasonable domain and range. So normally domain is all real numbers, but because it says reasonable, it can't be. We start on the left, which is 0, and we go to the right, which is 12. Range, we start at the bottom, which is 0, and we go to the very highest, which is about 68 or so. Okay, hopefully this helped, and we're done.